messed up on a slime's color? Definitely yes. I remember one time I was trying to make a big batch of wild cherry slime and I accidentally dyed it blue. Luckily, I always add the colors before I add the scent to slime, so I was able to take some blue raspberry scent and turn this into a blue raspberry icy. Thankfully it worked out, but mess-ups are way more common than you think, which is why I get why you're asking.
Extremely creepy story time on how my aunt passed away. So a little background information. About 5 years ago, my aunt had gotten pregnant. It was really weird because a few months before she got pregnant, the doctor told her that she would never be able to have kids. And her husband had been trying for years. Well, I think like 2 weeks after the baby was born, it had passed away. And I don't really know why. For some reason, my mom won't tell me. Which is weird, but anyways, after that, my aunt just felt like a lot of things weren't going the way that she wanted them to in her life. So she decided to get closer with God. Well, every Sunday night, we go to my grandparents' house for a family dinner. And while we were there, my aunt starts going on this whole rampage. She said that God's not giving her the answers that she needs, and I don't really know what she means by answers. So my grandparents kick her out because she's acting like a psycho. Well, the same night at 3 a.m. in the morning, we hear a knocking on the door. And lo and behold, it's my aunt. So my mom lets her in because she feels bad and feels like she's the only one that will actually listen to my aunt. So she makes everybody sit at the kitchen table. And she pulls out a Ouija board from her bag, like for part 2.
Story of the time I let a stranger drive me home. Disclaimer, do not do this. So at the time, I was either 15 or 16 and I worked at a shoe store. I became really close friends with the people that I worked with and they were a little bit older than me. And Uber was definitely a thing back then, but nobody ever used it. And a lot of my friends would use taxis, but they were pretty expensive, so I was not trying to get one. My parents were out of town and my friend that was going to drive me home also worked at the mall, but she ended up going home sick, so she couldn't take me home anymore. So I start asking my coworkers if anybody would be able to take me home. But they all lived super far away from me in the opposite direction, so they all said no. The mall closed at 9:30 and we usually got out of work at 10, but I ended up sitting in the waiting area until 11 o'clock just hoping that somebody would be able to pick me up. A few security guards came up to me and asked me why am I still in the mall, and I told them I'm waiting for a ride, so they let me stay. Mind you, I was sitting by an exit, so I see this cute guy walking towards the exit, and I talked to him a few times because he also works in the mall. He was like, "You're still here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have a ride." And he was like, "I got you."
Story time of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we started dating and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like leave her or you die, get away from her, and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night, me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2.
Story time of how I caught my teacher naked. By the way, this is not my story, this is from Anonymous. So my whole class in 9th grade went skating. We were having a lot of fun and it was going normal. Afterwards, we went into the buses. When I sat on the bus, I realized I forgot my bag. I ran back inside into the women's locker room. When I went inside, it was just me, but then I saw a teacher. A male teacher. He was around his mid-30s. When I saw him, he was standing in just a towel. He was showering in the women's locker room for no reason. He asked me what I was doing there, and I said I forgot my backpack and that I was going to miss the bus. He then said if I stayed with him, then he would drive me back to school. So I did. I sat outside his shower, and me and him were just talking back and forth. Then when he was done showering, he walked out fully naked. He then changed right in front of me, and I was fine with it. I mean, I like seeing naked bodies. Follow for part 2.
Story of the time a police officer pulled me over just to flirt with me. So when I first got my license, I would always go to Wawa in the middle of the night. Usually I would pick up my friend and we would go together. But this night she was busy and I was hungry, so I just went by myself. So I pull up to Wawa, and right after I got there, I see a police officer pull up. I didn't think anything of it. So I went inside, ordered my food, and while I was waiting in line to pay, I see the police officer walk in. He was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, really tall and muscular, and had blonde hair and blue eyes. Just an overall attractive guy. Right when he walked in, we made eye contact. At the time, I was 17, so I wasn't thinking like, ooh, arrest me, officer. I'm just kidding. But whatever, I pay for my food, go to my car. Then the cop comes out a few minutes after me and he looks at me while I'm getting in my car. And I was really hungry and not trying to wait to eat. So I watched YouTube on my phone and ate my food in my car. So I finished eating and start heading home. Mind you, there was nothing wrong with my car. I didn't have tints. All my lights were working. And all of a sudden I see cop lights behind my car. So I pull over and it's lo and behold the cop from Wawa. Like for part 2.
This is the story of the spoiled student. The spoiled student used to be my friend. We trusted each other. I trusted her and she trusted me. We can just call her Anna for now. Anyway, Anna was always about followers. She was at 10,000 followers at that time, and I was at 400,000. She got so cocky that her true colors were showing. Then the next week came by and she had over 100,000 followers. She became cocky that one day she even came up to me in class and said she was gonna beat me to 500,000. I didn't want it to be a competition, so I just let it go. Then the next week she hit 300,000. And then she even started making fun of me for playing with fidgets and slime. The principal was overwhelmed with my 400 followers that she even gave me a gift. And that morning, Anna passed by and she overheard our conversation. She even saw the gift. Her face looked mad and she just stared. Then I finally opened the gift and it was a pack of fidgets. Anna was so mad that she tried to trip me and I knew it was her. I looked back at her and she instantly did something on her phone.
My fiance's girl best friend has never liked me. We were all hanging out when Madison and Michael came out from a room with Madison crying. Michael looks at me and starts swearing and says I'm a raging bitch. Being hormonal and pregnant, I start crying and asking what's wrong. Proceeds to tell me about the text message I sent Madison. I told her I would not allow her near our child. I only sent this text message after the many racist texts she sent me about my child and I, me being biracial and all. Instead of hearing me out, Michael kicked me out of the house that we shared. On my way out, I felt a lower cramp in my abdomen, and I thought nothing of this because I was not due for another 3 weeks. When I flinched from the pain, Michael told me to stop faking. On my way to my mom's, I felt a gush of water and immediately turned the car around so that I would make it to the hospital. I tried calling Michael numerous times, but my call was quickly declined. I gave birth to our baby all by myself. I decided to do something and post all the hurtful messages Madison sent me on Facebook. Michael calls me and I inform him about my whereabouts and he shows up 42 minutes later. He has tried to apologize multiple times, but I don't think I can forgive him. I went through the pain of pushing out an 8-pound baby all by myself because he chose to listen to his best friend over his fiancé. Should I forgive him?
Storytime on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. So I had just graduated high school and my mom was single for a while. Then she started dating this guy, which me and my brother really liked, but he was a few years younger than my mom. And honestly, we were happy for her. She was very depressed and miserable with my dad, so we were okay with it because she was finally happy. So like I said, I had just graduated high school, and I always said I never wanted to go to college, so I started working retail. One day while I was at work, my mom called me and said, "Hey, let's go out shopping." And who am I to say no? So after I got out of work, I met my mom and we went lingerie shopping. That's what she specifically wanted to get. So we were at the store and the first thing she said was, "Let's get matching sets," which was weird coming from my mom, but I said, "Fine, come back for part 2.
If anyone's wanting to know how to get revenge on someone who spread rumors about you, listen to this story and it may come in handy. So I had a friend that we can call Miranda who was obsessed with me. I was genuinely friends with her, but she would never give me a break. I could not get a breather from her at any point in time. Everywhere I went, she went. And this girl would actually get so upset with me anytime I would go over to another friend's house. I knew she was really insecure and just trying to get attention, so I tried to be patient with her. However, one day I just could not take it anymore. I got into a massive fight with her over how overprotective she is. I literally said, "You are a stage 5 clinger." And in response, this girl ended up joining my basketball and softball team, which I've been on for forever. She told her mom that I was bullying her, which was a complete lie, but then her mom went to the coaches. She got me kicked off the team and then continued to spread rumors about me. I ended up losing my best friends and even my boyfriend over the rumors that she spread about me. So that's when I decided to get revenge. So I decided that I was going to send her over an apology gift with makeup in it, which was a mix of drugstore items and poison.
I'm 21 years old and my parents are divorced. My dad cheated on my mom when I was 10 and left us to marry his coworker, Kay. In the weeks following the incident, my pregnant mother ended up miscarrying from all the stress. Kay married my dad and gave birth to my half-sister, S. I remember I always hated going to my dad's place. I remember being miserable whenever I was around them. I never had a bond with S and never considered her to be my sister. Anyways, I visited my dad until I was 15 and then moved to another country with my mom where she met P. P was an amazing guy who made my mother smile again. They ended up getting married and my mom gave birth to my twin brothers. When I moved to a new country, I cut off all contact with my dad. I was supposed to visit them every Christmas, but after my brothers were born, I felt like I finally had a real family and I chose to spend my holidays with my mom, P, and little brothers. Well, last year, S was diagnosed with advanced leukemia. I did feel sorry for her, but I was not in any way affected by the news. She finally passed away on the morning of my 21st birthday. Call me heartless, but for me, it was like some neighborhood kid getting sick. I felt guilty about my feelings because I'm very protective towards my brothers, and the mere thought of any harm coming to them makes me anxious. Now for my 21st, I got married 4 years ago, and my husband and his family are many times over millionaires. My family is just middle class. Our wedding cost around $700K paid by him and his parents. My parents gave me a flat fee of $10K for a dress, which they are also giving to my sister too. Sister and her fiance are lower class. She has $170K in student loan while he has $110. They have $18K in medical debt and $35K in credit card debt. Well, last night was my sister's birthday dinner and she announced she was engaged and wanted help paying for her wedding. She gave me a spreadsheet of how much she was going to need for her dream wedding. Anyways, her dream wedding is supposed to cost $100K, and as her only sister, I need to step up and help pay for her wedding since her parents are only giving her $10K for a dress. She said she needs me to give her at least $70K since I'm rich now. When I told her I'm not giving her $70K, she cried and said it wasn't fair how I get whatever I want. When she realized I wasn't going to budge, she broke down about how I'm just using motherhood to be greedy and lazy. I have 2-year-old twins. I eventually told her I wasn't going to be bullied into giving her $70K. She's 15 weeks pregnant, hence why she's in a rush to be married right away. When I tried to leave, she just snapped and said,
My family, who is extremely homophobic, ended up kicking me out and replacing me with my best friend. My family is absolutely awful when it comes to topics about the LGBTQ plus community. Literally any mention of it and they get extremely upset. Which sounds like they're suppressing something to me, but I had a friend that we can call Katie and my family absolutely adored her. Every Christmas they would buy her presents.
She would spend family movie night with us, and they honestly treated her like she was the favorite daughter.
So one day I made the decision to come out and I decided to talk to Katie about it. She was literally so supportive and so respectful that I gained the confidence to talk to my family about it. Bad idea. Health striked and they immediately kicked me out of the house. So I found myself on a schedule of switching from couch to couch at different friends' houses. One particular night that was really hard for me, I decided to go visit them. I was missing them and also hopeful that they might accept me back in. And as I approached the house, my best friend was over there. She was playing games and doing family movie night with them, and so I decided to knock on the door. I burst into tears and went off on all of them.
The absolute audacity.
Later, my best friend texted me saying that she had a secret. Follow my Insta.
Okay, so can we please talk about how McDonald's is responsible for one of the biggest conspiracies? Yes, McDonald's. It became a massive FBI investigation and involved one of the biggest Italian mob families in New York. Well, around 1987, there was a little bit of a decline in the fast food industry, and McDonald's was really feeling it, so they were like, oh my gosh, how can we improve our sales? And this is when they decided to partner with Simon Marketing. And they had some amazing business ideas. They helped them come up with the Happy Meal, and they helped them come out with the Monopoly game. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I used to play it a lot as a kid. You would get this little sticker that you could peel off on the back of drinks, boxes. It would offer you a free Big Mac, a drink upgrade, but some of them offered way bigger prizes, like jet skis, cars, all the way up to $1 million. Yeah, I never found one of those. But you could always bring it back and add it to your Monopoly board. And anyone could participate even if you didn't buy anything from them. Like you could just go in and ask for a chip or else it would have been considered gambling. McDonald's sales jumped 40%, so they were making bank. But it didn't take long for someone to tip off the FBI.
Hi y'all, here's a story time of how I got out of getting in trouble at school. So I believe I was in first grade at the time, and I had a best friend named, let's just say, Allie. Allie had this huge crush on this boy named, let's just say, Mark. Mark liked Allie, and Allie liked Mark back. So word got around that they both liked each other, so they scheduled a wedding. At the time, the whole grade was all obsessed with marrying each other and crushes and dating, but I was not really into that. I was more into sports and my grades, so I thought that this was kind of a crazy idea. So Allie comes up to me, tells me that she's getting married, and she invited me to her wedding. I thought this was absolutely nuts since I knew this relationship was not going to go anywhere, but I still said yes that I would go because, once again, it's my best friend. So the day comes, Allie wears a dress and heels to school, so she would look like a bride. I honestly forgot what Mark was wearing, but it was probably not groomly at all. But the wedding was scheduled for during recess. So we go through the school day. Allie was pretty excited about her wedding. I'm pretty sure Mark was too. And we finally make it to recess. I still thought this was an absolutely nuts idea because literally nothing was going to happen in this relationship. But I was still supportive and hyping her up. So we go out to recess and they have the wedding. It was kind of behind the play structure, so it was kind of hidden so the new naids wouldn't see. So I went over there for 2 minutes, but then I just thought this was absolutely horrible and boring, so I just left. But then once again, word got around and the lunch lady came. The lunch lady made all of them go down to the principal's office, and they all got in huge trouble for this. While I was just sitting on the slide laughing because I knew I got out of trouble.